G'day Sportsnet fans. Listen, welcome to the Yarra River in beautiful Melbourne. I'm here just going to sharpen up my skills a little bit in the old single scull here before I have a chat to our good mate Drew Ginn, who's going to be hosting our fantastic tour over the UK and Henley Royal Regatta. So it's going to be an amazing trip, but as I say, I've just got to brush up because I'm going to take on the big man after this one, triple gold medalist or not. It's on Sportsnet versus Drew Ginn, but first let's have a quick chat about the tour we're about to embark on. G'day Drew, listen, thanks so much for inviting us down here to the banks of the Yarra in front of your old stomping ground, of course, the Mercantile Rowing Club here in Melbourne. Now, mate, this place must have some pretty awesome memories for you. Oh,
fantastic memories, really. I remember coming down to Mercs in 1993 for the first time, or actually 1992 for the first time with school, and watching the awesome foursome win the gold medal in Barcelona on the big screen here. And I think pretty much everyone along the river had come along on that night to watch the race, and the atmosphere was huge. So from that perspective, it's been inspiring. From the perspective of actually coming down and training daily, I mean, I've spent morning and afternoons here for 16 years. I really have enjoyed what the club's provided me in that regard and what the sport's provided, and I think all the athletes down here enjoy the same. And the Yarra River is not as bad as everyone says. I've fallen into it a few times, but yeah, it's one of those wonderful sports I think that we get a lot out of.
Absolutely. Now, you talked about all the training, and I'm very familiar with the Yarra at 5 AM, but I'm usually coming home from a big night out, so I do remember seeing all the crews and the schools and the unis out and about in their 8s and their 4s pulling away. But tell me, what could possibly have inspired you to get into rowing and put yourself through that on a daily basis in the first place?
Well, what you've exactly seen is what is amazing about the sport down here. And I think it's the same thing wherever the locations are, but you see everyone around, you see all the energy that's involved, even at that early hour. For me, I spent 1993, I think I did the really early mornings in 5:30, and the thing that brings you down is the fact that you're going to be doing it with others. That real sense of bonding together and working together towards an event. It changed. We got a bit smarter over the years and wanted to change the timing and row in the light rather than in the dark. But the same thing being is that you come down to a location where you're doing what you can to get the best out of yourselves individually and collectively, and you're a part of a wider community. And so it makes the 5:30 starts a bit easier, but you do get smarter with age.
Now, you mentioned coming down here in 92 to watch the awesome foursome. Now, did you ever dream that you'd be a part of it, one, and two, that you'd actually stand on the dais with an Olympic gold around your neck as part of the awesome foursome, as the first of your 3 gold medals as an Olympian?
Yeah, well, I never dreamt of winning 3, that's for certain. That's something I can be really honest about. And I dreamt about being involved with a group like the awesome foursome. I think I was a student of the awesome foursome. There was a university degree for the awesome foursome. I was the one that went and did the study. To me, I watched all their videos, I watched their races, I was a part of that experience when they won their first gold. That inspired, and that was certainly my dream. To think you're actually going to get there is another thing, and to look back at my career and go, 3 gold medals and all the World Championship experiences, no, you don't. And that's what I think the wonderful thing about sport in general is you focus on what you're doing at the time, and you can't get too distracted by the idea of dreaming too far ahead. But being a gold medalist is something I always wanted, and from a very young age. But yeah, it's that whole thing that you realise when you get it. It's been a long, long journey. So the awesome foursome played a significant part in that process.
Right now, Drew, let's cut to the chase. We're here, as much as I love talking about your career, as it was, but we're here to talk about a very exciting trip that you yourself are going to be hosting on behalf of Sportsnet to the Henley Regatta in 2010. Now, tell us a little bit about Henley and what it means to the rowing community.
Yeah, that's right, AB. It's for me, it's been great to work with Sportsnet in terms of trying to bring this together and be a part of it. It's Henley. I remember going to it the first time in 1997 and just being blown away by the experience. And I'm not sure if it's Henley Royal Regatta or Royal Henley Regatta. They're very particular about those sort of things over there at the regatta. But to me, you go there and you're blown away by the experience. It's match racing, which is different. It's on a course that's got so much history. It's a flowing river, so there's characteristics to the water. You go there and it's like the Melbourne Cup, but on water. People are there to see the rowing races, but people are there to socialise and be there for a really good time. And so that mix and mingling aspect of it all is fantastic. From an athlete's perspective, beyond the water is huge. You don't get a crowd like that anywhere else in the world for any other rowing event. To get 110,000 people plus every day and all dressed up, all looking fantastic, all having a bit of a drink and enjoying themselves, and very much, a lot of them have had rowing experiences at some stage in their lives, and they're getting to come together to celebrate the classic element of the sport, which is two crews going off against each other. And they have a boat following behind with the coaches and all that sort of stuff, referees and umpires. And so it's got an intensity to it you don't get anywhere else. So there's a lot to it that has the history, and the energy is fantastic. And I think the fact that you go to an event like Melbourne Cup and you see that on the water as a rower, it makes you feel really excited.
Absolutely. Now you mentioned being on the water and participating as an athlete. To be able to relax and actually watch this unfold in front of you, in some corporate hospitality facilities, and just chill out, that must be attractive to a bloke who's worked so hard every other time he's visited.
Oh, absolutely. I love the idea of going along to rowing regattas where I don't actually do any work. And I think it's got to be the same for any of the participants that might come along and invest in this, is that you get a chance to see rowing in one of its greatest situations, appreciated by so many people, and the same thing for myself. You're not worrying about getting the blisters, you're not worrying about all the training. The aim is to give people a genuine experience, which they get on the water, they have some rowing experiences with myself and other coaches. They get to mix and mingle with people that enjoy the sport as well, and they get to see this event from another side. And hopefully, with an athlete like myself, you get some insights too along the way that make it even more meaningful.
Unreal. Now, okay, so we're watching the rowing. We've got a couple of fantastic days of rowing, but we're also throwing in some culinary aspects. We've got, I think you're hosting a private dinner at the Hind's Head pub, which is a historic pub in Henley there, so very, very famous and very old, private room in there. So it's not just about the rowing, it's a Marlow and Henley experience really, isn't it?
Oh, look, it can't be understated. Rowers do enjoy themselves and they like to enjoy the full experience, and I think even when you're competing at the elite level, you don't want to deny yourself the opportunity to celebrate things and enjoy time with people and stuff like that. So the ability to have a great meal together and some great drinks and have great conversation, I think, is all part of it, and I think that really will add to the whole experience, and going to a place like that with the Henley Regatta just down the road makes all the difference.
Righto, Drew, so taking a step back, you did touch on a couple of rowing clinics. Tell me a bit more about those ones.
Yeah, look, it's the opportunity for the participants to row on some of the great waterways, one being the Thames, and obviously people understand the history of that river and what's been involved there, and probably more importantly what I'd sort of bring people's attention to is the chance to row on Dorney Lake. It's the Olympic course for 2012. I got to race on it in 2006, and it's got the Eton College there and all that sort of stuff, and I think as an athlete myself, to be able to bring people along to a location like that only a few years later, or 12 months later, effectively, 2 years later, that they'll get a chance to watch the Olympic events unfold where they've actually had a rowing experience.
That's it, so they can sit at home watching on their telly and say to their family and friends, listen, I was there with Drew and we rowed it ourselves. So pretty huge experience. And speaking of the word experience, do people need any?
Look, there's probably an element that helps if you know a little bit about rowing and done a bit of rowing, but I'm one of those sort of people that I believe you can take a novice, an intermediate and an expert at the sport, and you can still give them an experience in the boat, which doesn't involve the risk side of things and all that sort of stuff. And the way we would be setting it up effectively is making sure that everyone has the experience at their particular level. It's not about sort of pushing the boundaries too much. It's about making sure that everyone gets out of it what they need to get out of it. And I think the honesty around what you can and can't do is really important. So we'll be coaching at that level with people and trying to almost create a mini Olympics in one sense to ensure that they get to their level, they get to feel what it might be like in a big event, and then when they look back in times to come watching the TV with the games, they get to sort of reflect on what it was like being out in that court. Righto,
Drew, so let me see if I've got this right. We're heading over to the UK, to the most historic and possibly oldest rowing carnival on the planet. We're staying 4 nights in the 4-star Crown Plaza Hotel in Marlow. We've got private deluxe transfers every day to and from, including some transfers on the water. We've got hospitality both on the Friday and the Saturday, the 2 biggest days of the Henley Regatta 2010. We've got a private dinner hosted by yourself at the magnificent Hind's Head pub in Marlow. And we've also got 2 rowing clinics, one on the Thames itself, right there in Marlow or Henley, and also a second one at the site of the 2012 Olympic Games, which of course is Dorney Lakes Rowing Club. So, I mean, this package is unbelievable. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. How does someone get involved in this?
Look, that part's simple. Effectively call or email Sportsnet and jump on the website. The important thing that I think everyone's got to keep in mind is there's not much time. And so if they get in early, there's a really good chance that this can all come together and they'll have a great experience. But yeah, call or email Sportsnet and they can reserve their seat.
Awesome. Drew, listen, thanks so much for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure
My
meeting you
pleasure.
and talking to you again. Now listen, it's time to put your money where your mouth is though, mate. Are you ready to take me on out there?
We're going mano to mano, are we?
Mano to mano, we're off. Thanks guys, we'll see you in Henley very soon, and thanks very much. Catch you later on Sportsnet.